September the 17th or 18th, depends on your time zone, we have a super full moon that will be eclipsed. This partial lunar eclipse is my second video in the series, and today we're talking about the kite. This is a very intense time for this particular eclipse forms what we call a grand aspect pattern that is actually quite a bit about where we can be successful in each of our lives and where we can move to a place from survive to thrive and make our natural gifts and talents come alive. And while this eclipse has very difficult aspects going on with it, it also has this beautiful gorgeous kite. And I'm going to teach you today how to understand how the kite formation at the time of the eclipse may impact you, not just on the eclipse of the 17th and 18th, but perhaps a month before as it begins to build, and up to 3 months to 6 months after. Eclipses have time orbs around them of influence. There's various ways of divining what that can be, how long the eclipse lasts, the traditions that say 6 months or 3 months. I find myself that lunar eclipses definitely show me their cards within 3 months or 90 days after the eclipse. And so, while this can bring you success in your life, in what part of your chart, in the whole sign Pisces part of your natal sky, it also shows you where you can move into a state of ease, peace, and grace. Because when we get Neptune involved in anything, keywords are surrender, divine, mystical states of consciousness, compassion, and awareness of the great collective, the oneness of reality. Now, let's just put it this way. That's the best we can get from it. We're also going to talk about the asteroids, Asclepius and Circe, America, Zeus, and Hekate that are embedded within this kite. We have the energies of incredible dynamic forces at work as these asteroids are tightly hugging the corners of a kite. Just think about a real kite. I'll be showing you the picture in a minute. If you haven't seen my original video on the eclipse, which is a super deep dive going into where in the world you're going to be impacted, like what countries in the world are most impacted by the eclipse, if you haven't seen that video yet, please go check it out. I'll put a link to it in the top of my description box, as well as a link to it in the comments, pinned to the comments, so that you can go back and look at the eclipse at all of its facets and aspects. But rather than going into that particular story now, I'm going to talk about the kite. In the longer video, I also show you how this is a part of a greater eclipse cycle, and I show you when these eclipses in Pisces happened before, allowing you to make comparisons to other times in your life. So please go watch that video for that kind of reflective cyclical understanding of eclipses moving through the sign of Pisces. Today, we are focused on the kite. Hey, by the way, are you new to my channel? Welcome. My name is Lori Lothian, and I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac and the whole sign house system. I love fixed stars and minor asteroids, which is why we're talking about those asteroids. The devil is in the details, and the asteroids are the punctuation marks of the sky. I have only two things I want to share with you because I'm going to be talking a lot about the archetypal significance of Neptune in relationship to Pluto and Uranus and the Sun. These are the points of the kite. I'm using a book by my favorite astrologer, Renn Butler, Archetypal Universe. He's starting his course in about a week. And if you want to jump into that course at the end of September, please do. I'm sharing this out of the excitement for this 6 months course of study with him, which I have already done twice. This is a mind-bending, mind-changing archetypal astrology deep dive course, especially for those of you who are more Jungian, who want to understand the deep meanings of the planets, understand how the perinatal matrix operates through the planets of Pluto, Uranus, Saturn, that represent aspects of coming into being, from being in the womb to going through the birth canal and being born. And you can see a lot about your life and how you came into being when you start to understand the archetypal astrology and the blending with the work of Stan Grof and the perinatal matrix. Renn Butler is an amazing teacher. His classes are a lot of fun. You'll learn a lot. So the description box for his 6-month course, link below. Number 2, I'm teaching as well. Sky Reader starts up the last week of September. Be your own astrologer. Type your best life on September 28th. Early bird discount doors are open now. They close up in a few days. If you want to grab that, the code is Early Bird Sky, all caps, and the link to subscribe or get into that class with me, and spots will fill up, is in my description box below. 6 weeks live, Facebook group, homework checks by me and my assistants. optional, and weekly Q&A calls, and you get to keep the content forever. If you miss a class, no worries, because you get to keep the content housed in my teaching platform with all of the downloadables and all of the audio video to keep forever. So don't worry if you can't be at every one of the 6 classes starting on the 28th of September and ending November the 2nd. I teach it only once a year. So if you're interested, jump aboard. Let's get to the sky. I think it's a good time to just show you what a kite looks like. This video will be coming out, I believe, on Sunday, which will be, I'm recording on Friday for my Patreon community, who gets everything early access ad free for a mere $5 a month, plus a bunch of other perks. Check that out below. Patreon.com/lunatic astrology. But I'm recording on Friday, September 13th, under the delicious sky of a brewing trine Venus Saturn, a Venus Jupiter trine. So it's a good day to dress up. I kind of wore a nice glam and glitz to give Venus a happiness vibe, some gold for the prosperity of Jupiter. All right, guys. So here we have a kite. Can you see the kite? I mean, to me, the kite is like infinitely obvious. I can't get my eyeballs off of it. So boom, kite. Now, when I look at a kite, I think about success. Are you born with one of these? They're kind of rare. I just call it the success thing in the sky, you know? When you have a grand trine, which is what this is, you're born with an ability to master something to do with the element of the trine itself. This is an earth trine, Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo. Someone born with this kind of earth trine is resourceful financially and can often find money coming to them in unusual ways that have absolutely nothing to do with their paycheck. They can land on their financial feet most times. Earth trines also make you earthy, grounded, maybe involved in very practical and earthy matters, but you have to look at the signs, right? Earthy Taurus, well, maybe you're a potter. Earthy Capricorn, you're a business executive. Earthy Virgo, you're a priestess, or you're a maven for health matters and health stories, right? So, but whatever, we have a trine in the sky. We all get to look at this grand Earth trine formed by the sun anchoring it at 25 degrees and 40 minutes of Virgo. And then opposite the top of the kite, because we want to draw the crossbar, is Neptune retrograde with the moon, which is the eclipse, right? At 25 degrees of Pisces. And Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn, conjunct the asteroid, America, and Zeus for leader. And finally, Uranus. And of course, Asclepia at 23 and 27 degrees, forming the other crossbar of the kite. What this in essence becomes is the flowing harmony of a capstone, like on a pyramid, at the top of what is essentially an earth triangle. Now, it would just be an earth triangle, and it wouldn't be doing too much until we get this focal planet, and that is the eclipse at 25 degrees and Neptune. Both of those are focal planets, co-sharing the focal point of the kite, the tip of the kite. Now, I've been looking at kites in clients' charts for years. I'm going to give you some keywords for the world, but also for you, should you be born with such a kite formation in your sky. You know, you can take for granted the gifts of the trine, right? We all can. Water trines, you're intuitive. Earth trines, you're resourceful. Fire trines, you're bold and take great initiative. Air trines, you have a lot of great ideas and you're a great communicator. We take for advantage of them very rarely. Trines feel like it's like a talent in our back pocket. It's like we came in front loaded karmic gifts. We know how to do this thing, right? We just do it naturally. Other people struggle to do it. I have a trine in my chart. So I can tell you, trine energy means you take some kind of talent or gift for granted. And you may not maximize it. You may not work it. I have a kite, so I know how to work it. Your kite says you're going to get lift off in life at some point. You're going to take off. You're going to give sky power to the energies of your natural gifts and talents, which are the nature of the element of the trine that forms this part of the kite here. And yet it's not always easy, because you can see that in order for this kite to form, it has to have a backbone, and backbones are oppositional. And that means there's tension in the sky. And in this case, the tension, you could say, is between the sun and Neptune, or the sun and the moon, which is a full moon. And yes, a kite can be formed by a full moon in the sky in your chart. Now, one of the things about this kind of kite in this particular time frame is it happens to be star-studded. with asteroids, which is an unusual configuration. So that's Hekate here, the triple thresholds goddess, and what she represents, Mother, Maiden, Crone, Ghost Whisperer, Spooky Halloween Witch, is she represents a place of crossroads where we're faced with a choice and a turning point, and we have to go. She's a guardian of the threshold. We have to choose which way to go. Like the little old lady in the forest when you're wandering in the wilderness and she comes across your way and says, ha ha ha, Hansel and Gretel, or hey, can I give you some help? Which way are you going to go? Which threshold do you want to cross? Which crossroads is before you now? So we can say that the collective of the world is facing a crossroads of some sort, connected to the Virgo part of the sky. Virgo rules health. There's a lot of concern about pandemic resurgence, and that is a possibility. We do see Asclepia in the sign of Taurus, and that he's a god, Asclepia, of healing, but also resurrection and raising the dead. But he can represent medical processes and procedures. He is the father of hygiene, the asteroid Hygeia, and he is the father of panacea, the cure or remedy for everything. So he represents things to do with medicine and healing. What about Pluto up here on the crossbar? Pluto has to do with America. Yes, the asteroid America. It can be North America, or I find it more accurately represents, like the eye on the dollar bill, America, good old US of A, right? And we also see Zeus, which means king or leader, and we see Pluto, death. Now, it is interesting to me that this is happening at a time when the eclipse becomes exact in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, we are looking at this horizon line. It is a rising ascendant in the sign of Gemini. Now, I will put the ascendant back in. I don't normally do that, but we're going to put the ascendant and descendant and midheaven and IC, and just to show you what this is about in the sky for the nation of the United States, because you can cast a chart for your country or your province or state if you have a time of incorporation kind of thing, and you can say your city as well if it has a birth chart, or you don't have to have a birth chart. You just place yourself in your town. Like, where are you living? Okay. Set your sky for where you live, click the button, and this is the sky. You'll see like what the people in your town will experience. But because the United States of America represents the country itself and the peoples in that country, and from the capital city of Washington, D.C., we can make some assumptions about that. And by the way, that's Circe. I almost forgot her. She's the witch. Okay. She's the Greek witch, Greek mythology. She wanted to help people. She was a prophet, seer, messenger. She turned humans into animals, especially gnarly men over a pit. She turned Odysseus men into swine and cast them over a cliff. She basically had a lot of witchy power. And Hekate is also a witch, just so you know. We interestingly have two witches involved in the story, archetypal witches. And so let's go back, though, to what could be going on in the United States of America. Number one, a lot of high magic, right? I don't know who's doing the magic. I know a lot of people believe in reptilians and deep state and, who really runs the show and what kind of blood sacrifices do they do. I'm not going to say it's not true. I have no idea. But we have like sorcery in the sky. Okay. So sorcery is actively engaged in the United States of America at the time of the eclipse. But it's interesting to see that it is also a sky in which perhaps the eighth house of death will be activated with Zeus and Pluto, and it's possible this eclipse in the couple of weeks before, maybe in the 3 weeks that follow, can be the death of a leader, and in this case, a death of maybe a leader in the United States. Now, can it be a former leader like Jimmy Carter, who's almost 100? Sure, because we got some activation for requiem, for funerals and stuff, and I covered that in another video. But it can also be any of the other leaders that we have out there. God forbid someone makes a second attempt to take down Trump through, malicious actions that could cause his death, or any person. Biden could pass away unexpectedly. There's a little shock and awe with the Uranus story. And he is getting pretty fragile. Who knows? Only the shadow, but we will see. So the death of a leader could be occurring in this time frame of the eclipse. When? Well, sure, September 18th, September 17th, especially with Mercury. All the news is fit to print down here. He could deliver the news right around the eclipse, day or two before or after. Or because the eclipse has influence over the course of about 3 months at least, within 3 months of this eclipse and overlapping with the election itself in November, there may be the death of a leader in the United States. Lastly, in the United States chart, I will also mention one simple thing, and that the Pisces part of the sky is the Republican Party. It's always the party who's not in power in a two-party system, or any other party that would oppose the party in power. So We the People, RFK, when that was still up and running, really was a Piscean part of the sky. The party in power, which is currently the Democrats, are here where the sun is, okay, in the part of the sky that represents. Oh, sorry, did I flip? No, I got that right. Because the United States is a Sag rising. Alrighty. Now, when the eclipse is being activated, so we see that the opposing parties are activated in the United States, and the eclipse is happening in the house of the Republican Party relative to the United States chart. Yet the Republican Party flips to the top of the sky, which means getting a lot of attention. So there's something about this eclipse that puts the oppositional party to the Democrats and the people involved in it who are running at the top of the sky, in everybody's eyeballs. They're not like in the back room doing, campaign stuff. They're like, whoa, they're right up there. We're all like looking at them going, what's going on in there? Saturn, hardship. Nessus is the asteroid revenges with Saturn. I didn't put it in there, but the revenge asteroid, hardship, constraint, limitation, Saturn words, boundaries, the lunation itself being eclipsed, an eclipsing of some kind of energetic connected to the Republican Party. And also Neptune, confusion, illusion, a misunderstanding, a delusion. Now, Renn Butler in the Archetypal universe has a little section on what happens when the moon and Neptune get together, right? The moon and Neptune are conjunct. We're having a full moon eclipse co-joined with retrograde Neptune and, of course, the witchy Circe. But moon Neptune has a few thoughts to it, okay? It can be open and receptive energy, imagination, kindness, and compassion. And Pisces rules refugees, displaced people. Just keep that in mind. Homeless people, intuition, sensitivity towards others, the sacralization, making sacred the everyday. And on the darker side, it can be codependent enmeshment, unclear boundaries. But look at this quote. I love these quotes. These are people who have, like Mother Teresa, a Neptune moon. She has a sextile connection in their natal charts. And if you have a moon Neptune conjunction or trine or sextile, you're also very intuitive as well as compassionate in your life, just so you know. I'm naturally intuitive and naturally compassionate. So Mother Teresa is, do not wait for leaders. Do it alone, person to person. Another person with a Neptune moon combination is Virginia Woolf, the playwright. As a woman, I have no country. As a woman, my country is the whole world. Don't you love that? And Walt Whitman, in the faces of men and women, I see God. So there's this potential for people to move out of the part of our lives that make it all about the me, and maybe about the we instead. And also to look at the idea that something could catalyze the world in the 3 months after this eclipse to do with challenges connected to water. I don't care, tsunami, earthquake, hurricane, a flooding, take your pick. A water story may emerge. We have a lot going on with the asteroid Gong Gong. I didn't put it in here. The sea serpent of destruction here that can destroy things with the Saturn narrative. So a water hardship is activated by this eclipse as well. There's no two ways about it. Now, I'm going to also say one more thing about this eclipse, and then we're going to move away from the eclipse Kite, and I'm going to talk about a couple of world events that might be ongoing. I want to also point out one more thing here, and then I'm doing your sign. This is a really all about your sign video, less about the world. That's called Mundane Astrology. You can jump ahead to your sign by clicking the chapters, by clicking the title of the video, or clicking on the comments, pinned comments, sign timestamps. But timestamps do not sync for up to an hour after my premiere. I do this stuff by coming into the video premiere with you and chatting with you and taking your questions. We have an ongoing off to the side, right? Sidebar, off to the side energy, two off to the side energies. Off to the side, we have, let's clear this hot mess of my drawings, right? Because it looks like I am in doodling school again. Okay. We have two other side stories at the time of the eclipse. We have Venus, who exalts the eclipse, by the way, in a trine to Jupiter. Well, this is happening a little bit more actively or exactly, on the weekend before this eclipse, which is eclipse happens on Tuesday in Washington, D.C. at 10:34 p.m. at night. Adjust for your time zone. But we can see that Venus is still engaged in that trine that started up on Friday and continues through until the eclipse. So there's a flowing, positive, lucky charm energy. Please go watch my video, the luckiest sky of the week or whatever, that came out last Monday, because I really dive into your sign about what that trine is for and when we've had it before and what it deeply means in the synodic cycle of the Taurus part of your sky. So it's really giving you really good advice. It's basically about events of a year, not just of last week. But we see this positive co-presence. Something is happening off to the side of the kite, off to the side of the eclipse. And the second story that's off to the side is a difficult one. It is Mars in Cancer in the sign of his fall, squaring the nodes of fate. I thought I had the nodes of fate in here for you. And I've already done a whole video about this square to the nodes of fate. But just trust me, I don't really want to change my drawing. The south node is here at 6 degrees of Libra. North node is that's what makes the eclipse happen, proximity of a lunation to the nodes. Within 15 to 18 degrees, you see an eclipse. So Mars is squaring the nodes of fate. And what that can indicate is a pivotal crisis point in the world connected to themes that the eclipse is actually creating change in, right? And we have North Node eclipses in Aries, and we've seen the escalation of a Middle East war since this began last. And the whole war is with the South Node eclipse on Libra, 21 degrees last October on the ascendant of Israel. So that war is a part of this eclipse cycle. And so there's a big turning point, change, dramatic crisis of some sort regarding that war ongoing with a week of this eclipse. Holy man. So we see a lot of stuff to the side of the eclipse, but it isn't really necessarily totally about the eclipse, because the eclipse, even though it's running off of fumes from this part of the sky, Aries, it's the first eclipse cycle that begins a story of change in your life, my life, everybody's life, the world's life, as it applies to the Pisces and the Virgo axis. Heads up, those eclipses historically have correlated to economic downturns and stock market crises and housing market crises. Case in point, the last time this Virgo Pisces eclipse cycle started, it was 2006 through to 2008. That was the subprime loan scandal and the massive downdraft in the stock market throughout the end of 2008. However, it was preceded by irrational stock market highs that occurred in July and October of 2007, and then everything tumbled down. We might see repeating themes as this new eclipse cycle emerges of a irrational exuberance of the market, maybe more quantitative easing, dumping money into the markets because of what's showing up as an economy that's gone into the tank because of the interest rate hikes. But there's not enough money in the economy right now, so that's another story. So there's a low amount of liquid fluid cash going around. So we're going to see maybe the Fed decide to do a crazy quantitative easing again next year, dump money into the system again, and artificially prop up and unsustainably prop up the economy and the stock market. But what I would say is go back to 2006 and 8 and be careful, because we might be in a repeat cycle. Also, you go back to 1987 through to 1989, another time we had this eclipse cycle in the Virgo and in the Pisces axis. Okay, to be very specific about this Pisces eclipse, I'm going to show you a chart that I shared in my other video in case you're too lazy to go back and watch the deep dive. Let me show that to you at this time. This is the chart, and I spelled eclipses. Oh, I've spelled it right. Oh, no, I forgot the S in eclipses. Just ignore that. But this is what I wanted to show you. It's an 18-and-a-half-year cycle, basically, that we see these eclipses rinsing and repeating. And I want to give you more of the exact dates here where, what the hell? I just got an error message. Okay. Where you can see something going on here. That is in September 7th 2006, we had an eclipse lunar like this one at 15 degrees of Pisces. You might go back and compare your life. And then in March 19th, we had a solar eclipse at 28 Pisces of 2007. And by the way, the stock market went crazy, crazy in the wake of that eclipse, and things went crazy by July. In 2007, August the 28th, we had a 5-degree Pisces lunar eclipse. And then in the wake of that, by the time we got to, I think it was October, November, we had new Dow Jones industrial highs, even though the subprime loan scandal was now being percolated into the news cycle in 2007, and there was already a brewing crisis. The stock market was still plowing upwards. And then we see 1988, if you go back way in time, March 17th at 28 Pisces was a solar eclipse, and August 27th, a lunar eclipse, and March 7th, a solar eclipse in 1889. Now, there was an eclipse in the fall of 1987, and that eclipse in the fall of 1987 was in Virgo. And in 1987, the year of, we had the Black Monday stock market crash, right? So I'm not showing you all of the eclipses, the Virgo and the Pisces axis, but because in 1987 in the fall we did have the eclipse in Virgo season, right? In the fall, Virgo season is the third week of August to the third week of September. We had an eclipse in Virgo, South Node, and it propelled us toward that 1987 downdraft in the market. So Black Monday and some kerfuffle that followed in the wake of that particular downdraft. So we see stock market corrections, and we see stock market highs, and we see stock market turbulence. But in your own life, you have what's called a whole sign house part of your chart. Take a screenshot of this, guys. That is the Pisces part of your chart. That is the opposite sign of Virgo. And this is where this kite is giving you some lift off. Now, let's go back to the picture of the sky, because we're going to do the all signs. Hang on. I'm losing the sky. Sky, you've disappeared. There we are. Now, one more thing I'm going to mention. There is a feeling with this kite that in some part of your life, and my life, and the world's life, something about our resourcefulness, and that can be all things earth, our health, Virgo, our business and monetary and success and career ambition matters, Capricorn, what mountain do we want to climb, our creativity, our artistry, our romantic and love on the earthly plane, romance, sex, fun, those energies of the real world, the down to earth. Are you a tarot reader? This is your pentacles, right? Your pentacles aren't airy fairy. They're not ideas like the swords, they're not spiritual realm like the wands, and they're not the emotional realm like the cups. This is the realm of the real world, or the seemingly real, tangible brick and mortar, knock on wood, touch down world. And each of our lives, the very worldly aspect of reality that we get our basic needs met at, our food, our shelter, our water, our expression of making tangible art in the real world, our taking care of our health, Virgo, are going to be on the menu in the wake of this eclipse. But the goodness of the eclipse, in my opinion, as we face crossroads decisions with Hekate here, individually and collectively, to do with medical matters that surprise us. I don't know, like Asclepia, resurrection, healing the dead, raising the dead, but also just medical matters in Taurus, the bull, that we can rise to the occasion here because we have the focal planet as Neptune, and Neptune is surrender to the divine will, or my will as thy will, or the mystic in each of us, or the one who knows that there's a force greater than ourselves. The word divine plan, allowing, releasing, surrendering, high level energies for this. Now, in Renn's archetypal universe, he does talk about the mystical side of Moon Neptune, right? He says it is the rich inner world and the imagination, which is Neptune. But he also mentions in here reverence and the care for the soul. Relax and let go, he says. I had a dream. I sound like I had a dream. I sound like that famous speech, Martin Luther King, bless his soul, assassinated in 1968. And we're repeating that year. We haven't had enough assassinations yet, because I don't think we've fully realized that story, unfortunately. But I had a dream a couple nights ago, and I'm only going to share that here. In fact, I'm going to just talk to you guys for a second, just for a second. Before the COVID pandemic came out, in 2019, I had two zombie apocalypse dreams, and I don't even watch zombie movies, but everybody was running and hiding from a contagion. It had the zombie apocalypse vibe, and I said to my friends, "I am dreaming of zombie apocalypses. What's going on?" And then by 2020, within 6 months to a year of my two or three dreams, what happened was we had a pandemic, and it was COVID. Well, I had one of those dreams again, just like a couple of nights ago. I'm recording this on September 13th. In the dream, I woke my partner up, said, "Zombie apocalypse dream," or I woke up for a pee, and I told him in the middle of the night, but there was a cow in the dream. And the only reason I want to talk about the cow, which is Taurus, the bull, where Asclepia and Uranus sit in the Kite, is that I know that there is a flu virus, bird virus, in the cows of America, particularly thinking of ranching country, Texas, where X marked the crossing spot of two separate eclipses. And also, of course, where JFK was assassinated. And I'm also thinking about the near attempt to assassinate Trump. And I still think there's more harm's way for everybody involved in this election season. But the unfortunate thing I'm worried about from that dream is I was poo-pooing the chance of a second wave of a pandemic of some sort. And now I'm less poo-pooing it from my dream. So it's possible this kite also shows us pandemics, but solutions and a way outside of it, like to break out of the trauma of it all. And Neptune can be rolling back the tide, retrograde, especially with where Mars is sitting right now, flowing to him, an ability to break through the miasma and the fog of misinformation and manipulation and spin cycles, and the way the larger stories can be manipulated to make the people afraid. And it's possible that what we're going to see is a lot like another story around it, which was the H1N5 virus that was in the news cycle during I did it in my recent video. It correlates with one of the cycles we're going through. So we're kind of back in that one, and everybody freaked out and nothing really bad happened with it. So let's think positive. Let's think hopeful. All right, let's go ahead and do your sign. Just before we go on to talk about your sign, I wanted to mention the difficult stars. Okay, so we do have the star Alkaid and Sheet. Both of them are extremely complicatedly difficult for a sky that looks like world events in the wake of this eclipse could bring the death of a world leader, maybe some more mischief and assassination stuff. I hate to say that word here. I don't want to get flagged on YouTube, but I needed to mention it. I forgot to mention it. I was remiss. So down here with the sun, we have Alkaid, the star of female mourners, right? Associated with mass calamity. In fact, if I was to read to you a little bit about Alkaid from one of my favorite books that I like to use, which is, I'm not going to lift it up, but The Little Book of Fixed Stars by Elizabeth Hazel. She will say the following thing: it is associated in mundane astrology with catastrophic fires and mass calamities. When we then also add Alkaid, the star of female mourners, at the bottom, that is the star of mass calamities. I'm sorry. The good news is next to that star is the ZAV, 27 degrees. It's conjunct the sun, which is the anchor point of the kite. And this is actually the Lady of Heaven. It's about weighing things, weighing the scales of balance and justice. It's really good for career success, but it also has to do with justice. Justice for wrongdoing. The star of female mourners co-joined with the sun Mercury. So there'll be some news coming off this eclipse that leads to female mourners, or just women mourning, but it could be anybody mourning, women mourning, people mourning, mothers mourning, etc. Up here we have the other story, Sheat, Sheat, another very difficult star. And I'm going to read a little bit about it from another book of mine, Fixed Stars in the Chart, by Oscar Hoffman. And he has to say that this is a star of extreme misfortune, murder, suicide, and drowning, and also connected quite often to calamity at sea, or connected to traumatic events connected to water. So we can see that we have a stellium up here, and the moon that is full and eclipsed with a gong gong asteroid and water hardship is, to me, speaking to a calamity that may be befalling us to connect it to the earth, and water matters. So I will stop the share just for one more minute to say this. This eclipse will bring some calamity. This Pisces eclipse at I'll say it again. I'll say it again. Well, there is a kite for this Pisces eclipse. It brings something strong, good, and successful for all of us, including the world. We also have stars, Shiat and Alkaid, indicating events in the world could bring mass sorrow, calamity, and particularly hardship with water. Things to do with weather events in water, or difficult loss of life and death through water. And with Uranus on Algol participating in the kite, Algol is also connected to off with their heads. And Zeus suggests maybe a leader dying. A leader may lose his titular head of state, and be deposed or pass away and lose power. There is always the possibility here, as well as world leaders being targeted by other people to take them out of power by putting them in severe harm's way. All right, so that's it. We're moving on to the all signs portion, into happier stories. Someone said to me in my comments, why am I so casual or lighthearted about calamitous world event predictions in my channel? Well, I'm not, but I'm not going to talk in like dum 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 a voice, right? Like, and today in the dark side of the sky we have, like, what are you going to do? You're going to talk about it in your own natural way of talking. It's not like I'm smiling through it all. Not usually anyway. All right, just commenting again, as I always do, on the trolls. Back to the finishing touch on the sky, United States chart, right? This is USA on the United States. This is their chart, like in terms of being set for the capital city of the United States, and reminding you that because the United States has Jupiter on the ascendant on the day of this eclipse, like in the place of DC, it can definitely be stories that this eclipse gets involved in that are squaring the word leader, or people in positions of power. The king of Mount Olympus is going to be activated. He is indeed the owner of the real estate in which this eclipse is happening, and he is getting into a square relationship in the identity of the United States. It probably is just the absolute chaos of an election in the United States that we're seeing, but there's a huge amount of how this eclipse squaring Jupiter in the identity house of the United States, based on the capital city time and place the eclipse becomes exact. I'm going to suggest that it looks like a lot of turbulence and chaos in this election. I've said in several videos, I do not think that because Jupiter comes close to and sniffs Kamala Harris's ascendant North Node in Gemini, comes up and sniffs Trump's sun in Gemini, and then retrogrades backward before the election on October the 9th, he retrogrades backward, that we're going to see a fulfillment of some kind of refrainment from coronation. Jupiter represents the coronation of kings, and the refrainment meaning coming close to saying you're the winner or you're the winner and backing off. Why would Jupiter back off for 4 months? Well, because there's a confusion around who won, or there's a delay in the election, or there's a delay in the results, like the hanging chads with the Bush-Gore story, for example. And I know that Alan Lichtman says the Democrats will win based on his tradition, but he also missed the Gore-Bush thing because the hanging chads meant that Bush won, and later on they found out that really should have been Gore, but too late. So there's always a chance that good old Professor Alan Lichtman of American University, who came up with the 13 keys to predict which party will win, may be wrong. I'm doing an election panel with some esteemed astrologers in early October. Stay tuned for that. I'll be putting notice out, and I might have a recording opportunity where you can come live and ask questions while we record, and then I'll be playing it back on YouTube. All right, so let's get going and talk about each separate sign, and we're going to start off with Aries, of course, and how this kite could give you a lift off in your life. Okay, that's the point. Aries, sun, moon, and rising. What a beautiful sky for a kite to appear entering an eclipse. We have this energy of the kite points directly here at Neptune in your 12th house. Are you in Aries seeking spiritual enlightenment? Because you can be resourceful in your career, and in your work and in your income. This is where you have the grand trine. You can have sudden and exciting increases of income, Uranus, and you can have great power and wealth through your career, and you could have great ability to communicate and be of service with Mercury and dignity in the workhouse. All of this is about the Artha houses of 10 and 6 and 2. These are work, resources, material houses in their very own right. And here's an earth trine blessing you. And one of the things about this earth trine is, while you may naturally be able to achieve great success in power, influence, riches, service that feels effortless and on track. That's the Mercury with the sun, and also with the story of Uranus, sudden ups in your money, rags to riches, riches to rags, up and up and up. I think it's an up story. The success is pinned on the focal planet, and the focal planet that makes this a lift off, right? The top of the kite lifts to the top of the sky, pulled on the winds of reality or non-reality, is Neptune. And Neptune's in a deeply spiritual moksha liberation house. So letting go, letting God, surrendering, being at one with reality, and allowing for life to unfold. Now, make your dreams come real, Neptune, with Saturn wedged, the full moon is wedged between the realist Saturn and the fantasist Neptune. How can you make your dreams come real? Through the eerie light of sort of a recognition or a revelation, because the eerie light of an eclipse, the glowy red moon, allows for us to see things in a different way. And so you're going to be able to see ways in which you can be more profitable, more healthy, more resourceful. You may also be able to let go of an addiction or self-undoing or bad pattern or habit as a result of this eclipse effortlessly, without going to AA or without joining a group. Miracles and magic allowing for the releasing of addictions and self-undoing look really good on you, Aries people, sun, moon, and rising. What else I'd notice here is that if you make money from international sources of revenue, long distance revenue, international companies, clients around the world, if you're borderless income type of person, as I am, then this can be, I'm an Aries sun, this can be a really powerful liftoff in your revenue you generate from usually digital income or borderless income, but maybe if you work for an international company, that too. Alrighty? Up, up, up and away, right? And your beautiful kite. And you may have some great opportunities for greater success financially with work, money, earnings, savings, and career recognition coming from people in foreign countries, or from even your own opportunities by going to those foreign countries. Look for revelations around those matters. And, technically speaking, with Mars crossing through the 4th house, and I should not have the ascendant midheaven in there, some of you may want to travel far from home, spend a lot of time sort of expatting far away from home with this kind of a sky. I mean, that's kind of what it looks like to me. We'll get rid of those. So some of you may also see this eclipse opens up opportunities for a lot of travel away and far away from home, even potentially moving your home in some way as well. Pluto in the top of the sky is your last time, right? He's back here until November 19th, started here in 2008. This is your last chance to transform, revision, redesign, power up in your career path, because once he's out of here, then you've got 20 years of great gains from your career, and you're going to really level up in your career as well, but in a different way. You've been changing, transforming, and mutating your career since 2008. I can relate. So if you're listening for your sun, it's usually about your career. If you're listening for your moon, it's your body, home, and mind. And if you're listening for your rising, it's everything about you in the game of life. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, Taurus, you guys have this beautiful kite flying high in the sky, with the tip of it being the lunar eclipse. Yes. And you're going to feel this as a very flowing thing, because you are in a state of flow or ease in your relationship to what's happening in the top of the sky. You from here are sextiling the eclipse. So you actually don't mind it at all, but there is this energy of the trine and the resourcefulness of you taking care of your body, Asclepia, taking care of your health, you being able to be grounded in your original inventive and freedom loving freak flag way, because you want freedom. You've got Uranus here, but you're also grounded and you're taking care of body and health matters with Asclepia, not just on the eclipse, but over the months that follow, maybe up to 3 months. You'll see why. And you get this idea that you've got to anchor it in the fifth house, and that's your fun, creativity, pleasure, entrepreneurial business, and sexuality. Okay, I'm going to give you a tip. The sacred priestess is here, the Vestal flame. Either you're going to have a very sacred devotion to your sexual romantic partner life, or you're going to take some time out and be celibate. This is often a time out from sexuality. If it's in the chart in an eclipse energy, it could last up to 6 months, in which you might want to have a little downtime from, having to be romantically inclined, and just sort of take a chill pill on that. And also the trine is pointing to ninth house power and wealth and riches and success. Zeus, the king of Mount Olympus. It's about being on purpose, how you can be right on your purpose. You may want to go on a pilgrimage to a foreign land. You may want to go far off and travel somewhere. You might want to go back to school or university. You might be putting the final closing chapter on some legal battles that you've been going through in dealing with court and court matters. And those ninth house energies are a part of this very resourceful trine that anchors the kite. Now, because the kite is backboning, as all kites do, between houses 11 and 5, there's energy that you must reconcile between matters to do with your children, your sex and romantic, fun, play, pleasure life, and what you're trying to accomplish in your gains from your career, right? This is a second from the 10th. You're working hard for your career gains. You're working hard and digging in to make things happen. You have Neptune up here. You had some confusion, illusion, and rose-colored glasses about your potential money stories with your career. You've been swindled and bamboozled by friends who are not your friends. You've been difficulties with friends who don't really fit you anymore because maybe there's something about them that you just don't trust, or maybe you've put them on a pedestal and now you have to take those friends off that pedestal. Okay. So in many ways, what I'm saying is that there's a lot of this eclipse as a full light moon that's going to be revealing something in an eerie new glow about what you need to know about career gains, your long game and plans for your life, what you want to see happen, your wishes, and what you want to desire into becoming the purpose of your life. This is a very purpose energy for you. You want to figure out what it is you're here for, because houses 1, 5, and 9 are Dharma houses, and you're looking to use your talents and gifts in this world, figure out the meaning of life and your connection to the divine, to whatever the God is for you that means the most to you, however you perceive deeper reality, spirituality, and God, because you're being pushed around on this one, especially close to November the 5th, when Mars will oppose Pluto, putting you in a crucible of faith and belief. Or powerful travel opportunities where you're going to pick it up and go off and travel around the world or something. These are things some of you may do in the next 3 months. Ultimately, the success point is the focal planet of Neptune, and you're going to try to create great career gains, money, reputation, success, but by being deeply aligned to purpose, enjoyment of what you're doing, and being authentically aligned to who you are, the Taurus point of the kite. Tauruses are loyal, stubborn, grounded, earthy. And you're holding that energy with Uranus there, which is completely opposite. So you've been trying to find which parts of that part of your character since 2018 with Uranus traveling here, you're going to keep, because you also have the sort of the jackhammer on the cement of your stubbornness, and you're trying to change your ways. And this eclipse can help you do that. Finally, with the Mercury Sun story in the 5th house, if you're an artist, an entrepreneur, or a creative type person, there's indicating some changes in those endeavors in your life. You're going to be doing it differently from now on. There's another path ahead for you, because this is a big change energy, and it's going to be South Node through the 5th house, letting go of the romantic partnerships, letting go of the way you've done your entrepreneurial creative businesses or art endeavors or creative endeavors, or letting go of things you thought brought you pleasure but aren't worth your time anymore. Chiron's cleaning up your addictions here in the sky as well. So you've got all of this story going on, and this kite is about that. And let me know how it goes. The kite can fulfill these storylines over the next 3 months after this eclipse. I think I need a chocolate break, but I'm going to go through one more sign. Alrighty. The next sign, and don't forget, there's a longer eclipse video. Go watch it. I'll pin it to the comments. It's got a lot more detail and it covers a different element of this eclipse. And don't forget to check out my Sky Reader course. I introduced it in the beginning. It's still early bird enrollment. It starts on the September the 28th, and I only teach it once a year. So if you want to get in, this is your chance to be your own astrologer, time your best life, 6 weeks live. All right, moving on. All right, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. It is a sky that has a kite in it, and it's anchored in the resourceful signs of Taurus and Capricorn and Virgo. In this sky, Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo are in the houses of moksha or liberation spiritually. These are deeper houses that have to do with one's disconnection from, in a good way, from the family of origin, rules and traditions, from the sense of egoic self, and moving into oceanic oneness and enlightenment, nirvana, samadhi. That's house 12. So you've got all of this energy that could open up spiritual awakenings for you over the course of the months that follow this eclipse. But also the other part of the story is this. The anchor of the trine here is it also connected to money as well. And that's because you get chunky money here, right? So it just sounds like, I sound like Kamala for a minute. You get chunky money here. This is your inheritance house, and Zeus can be the king of Mount Olympus, and someone passing. And it can be a father figure because this is a house of legacy wealth. So some of you Geminis may see inheritance or legacy wealth coming through a father figure as a possibility, not a probability, a possibility. You're lucky. You've got Jupiter here till next June. Harness the luck. Okay. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. You've got luck and steroids. So keep that in mind. But on this eclipse, also, you see that you're making some radical changes in this earthy energy of moksha liberation regarding home, money, and foreign countries. And so maybe some of you will be buying a home, moving a home, changing a home, connections to foreign lands and foreign shores in service of your career. For at the top of the kite is the eclipse moon with Neptune and Circe, the witch, and all of that. But we're really just going to focus here today. Well, if I use Circe, the power of sorcery, the power of witchery, the power of manifestation, casting spells of goodness into what kind of success you want to see happen in your career that marries the realism of Saturn with the fantastical visions of Neptune. Your imagination and your realist collaborate. The moon shines a light in the 10th house of career and reputation and social standing that is an eerie glow that allows you to see things differently. How will you see differently the way you wish to succeed in your career from matters that you're doing in and around your home? Mercury is often buying and selling. And when he's here, you're either buying, selling, communicating, writing, or speaking from home, but also maybe selling a home or buying a home. So some of you may change your home as a result of this eclipse. I give it 6 months. I see lunar eclipse as a 6-month roll, but certainly in 3 months, you'll know what it's about after the eclipse. And maybe a couple of weeks before. Because with the South Node moving through your 4th house, a lot of you will change your home in the next couple of years anyway. And this is the first opening for a shift of home. With Neptune on the top of the sky, the kind of career paths you might be successful in: story writing, filmmaking, photography, Hollywood, screenplays, fiction, YouTube, Instagram Reels, any social media that use moving imagery, like movies, right? So those places bring you great success in this kite, connected to especially chunky money. Like I want to talk about that. If you're in a, creating online content, this is like the passive revenue, right? This is like you resell something, and when you're snoozing at night, it's being sold while you sleep. It's not your one-on-one work. It's not the things you do like directly. It's ad revenue from YouTube, okay, for example. So you can make money that way and be very successful, but you're making a change because the eclipse is eclipsing something from your career house, something the way you've been doing it before, something is coming to an end because it's begun to feel hard. Saturn for the last year, yeah, it feels really hard up here. Me as an example, progressed sun in Gemini. No, your progressions are not as accurate as your natal chart situations, but look at your progressions. It means I'm not seeing clients in 2025, except for my priority Mondays, which will book out really quickly. I'll open new spots every month. That's it. And so if you are somebody who is burning out Saturn at the top of the sky, you're going to change the way you do your career. And some of you in the next 2 years will retire. Time for a chocolate break. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're in the premiere. It helps the channel grow. Sky Reader starts the last week of September, and you'll find information about it in the description box below, including the early bird discount. This girl needs chocolate. You can't make this up. Lunatic. I cannot believe it. I found it yesterday. It's called Zazubine, and it's organic and vegan and without gluten, of course, fair trade. And it's basically mint with cocoa nibs. And I've never tried it before, but talk about being on brand, guys. I need to reach out to these guys and say, I'll sponsor your chocolate because this is really good chocolate too. All right, let's get going and get back to the story. And we're into the story of the next sign. And the next sign is always after Gemini. I always have chocolate on air signs, right? Gemini or Libra is Cancer, Sun, Moon, and rising sign. What happens here is you have a kite in the sky. The kite is giving you success in your ninth house. This is where the focal planet is. The ninth house has to do with things to do with God, religion, spirituality, dharma, higher education, colleges and campuses, book publishing, foreign land visas and travel, court and legal matters, and third marriage environments. Your second marriage is your second house, and your first marriage is your seventh house. There. What is the third marriage? You know, you're married to the third person. People ask me all the time, what do you mean by third marriage? What do you mean? Like a third marriage? My third husband. Oh my goodness. I don't get the question. Okay. So this is a kite, and that means it brings you success, even though it is also an eclipse. So number one, you have an anchoring in the earthy energies here, obviously, and a crossbar there. The earthy energies are your significant long-term marriage type partner, which is represented by Pluto here in the chart. Your other part of your thing is your friends, social groups, and your elder sibling. And Algol is a wealth star. I will bring that to your attention in a minute. And also down here, the sun is anchoring this eclipse narrative into a kite formation. And the earth energies here are in houses 11, 3, and 7. And 11, 3, and 7 are relational houses and houses of ideas, but it's how you relate to others. So you're having a shift in how you relate to friends, allies, benefactors, the sibling, one older than you, a shift in how you relate to your spouse and any significant clients or customers or business partners, seventh house people, and also to your aunts, uncles, cousins, and your younger sibling. There's a big shift of the relations you have with all of these people. But because we also see that the output of this is coming from the angle of 3, 9, where the success and the opposition tension is, it looks to me like some of you may be looking at opportunities for teaching or learning or traveling, study, learning, teaching, traveling, and some of you moving, okay? Your home, because South Node is still in your fourth house. So, and moving your home over the course of the next 3 to 6 months after the eclipse. But you may move because of siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, husband, spouse, wife. You may be moving for those reasons. Ultimately, because the focal planet Neptune is in the house of the ninth house, some of you might change countries or, you know, have moves of home connected to foreign people and foreign places and visas. You may also be having some changes around matters to do with what you consider to be a meaningful life purpose, because with Chiron in your 10th house, you're figuring that out for the last, since 2019. What's a meaningful career? What's a meaningful purpose in life? Retired, then where's the meaning in your retirement? A student, what's your meaningful studies? How do you find meaning in the actions you visibly demonstrate to the rest of the world? Because with Neptune up here, he's a spiritual guy. He's enlightenment. He's all is one is all, oceanic consciousness, compassion, and unconditional love in a house of God. And you may be opening yourself up to some more realistic dreams come true, Saturn, Neptune, about what you want to achieve, not only in your life's purpose, but in your relationship to your spiritual path as well. We've got some support from Mars helping you make decisions in the wake of this eclipse and in the months that follow, about what kind of decisions you need to make in order to make this kind of Kite take off, and Mars is going to be willing to help. So your decision-making power and action-taking power are bar none the highest you've had in ages. And you can bring some wealth into the story. Pluto is a god of wealth and riches, and so is Algol, the star. And you could have some sudden riches coming through a business partnership or a relationship to an elder sibling, and a real increase in your wealth as a result of it. All right. I hope that makes some sense for you. And if you're someone who's got an idea, you want to educate yourself, go back to school, so to speak, this kite can lift you to the top of academic possibilities in your dream school. You know, you're being realistic, but also fantasizing what you want. And with Mercury at the bottom of the sky, the news god is in good dignity. And he's in the place where the emails and phone calls come in. I think some of you can make a stab at taking a re-educational direction and having it work out really well. So if it's something you've been thinking about, or if you're the teacher yourself and you want to launch a new course or a book you want to publish, Mercury, the writer, in the third house of writing, looking up at the ninth house where Neptune says, weave your stories into a book. That's really good for those Cancers who are book writers or looking for traditional publishers to say yes. Okay, that's your story. All right. What was that sound? That was my kombucha. When I'm not on chocolate, I'm on kombucha. All right, next. Somebody asked me where all my energy comes from, and I told them in the comments, sleep. If I don't get a good sleep, I'm a hot mess. Leo, sun, moon, and rising. It is a kite taking off in the sky as a result of the eclipse on September 17th, 18th, that is pointing you in the direction of chunky money. In essence, it wants you to make some, get some, have me some of that chunky money. What is chunky money? Insurance payouts, tax rebates, investment monies in the stock market. You're a shareholder, shared resources, money from and with you share with your business and love partner, like your spousal monies. You want to focus on those kinds of finances because that's where the success is. And it's anchored in resourceful houses of 10, 2, and 6, suggesting the money comes through the work environment, the career environment, and the savings and earnings environments. And so you're increasing your earnings, your savings, your work environment brings you wealth. You have some sudden, exciting, unexpected changes in the career space, but also the wealth star Algol is there. So you can see a little bit of a resourceful financial increase in your career type monies, work type monies, job type monies coming through the sky with the trine. And the trine is happening during the eclipse. So it bakes us into the next few months. And the the tip of the kite is Neptune and the moon up here. So what could you possibly be doing with this? Well, for one, it could look like you're trying to contact the dead. You've got Circe the witch in the 8th house of the dead with the moon and Neptune, your visionary imagination. And this is like a psychic signature, right? So are you able to like suddenly channel the dead Aunt Susie and get some career advice? Or this is also importantly a good placement for someone who wants to increase the use of their intuition or non-ordinary perceptual abilities in order to increase your financial gain in areas that are less like the hustle of the daily work and more like investments, shared money with your spouse, ad revenue from YouTube, royalty income, more derivative kinds of financial gain. With the energy of Uranus in the 10th house, you've been under a lot of radical change in your career since 2018 with unexpected twists and turns that will be coming to a close in the next year and a half, 2 years. But in this sense, you may still have some surprises, but I think you're going to welcome them because of the anchor and the earth trine, sudden, like erratic left and right turns in your career, bringing unexpected opportunity that is also going to increase the money story for you. So career opportunities emerge. Don't forget, a lunar eclipse can reveal what is hidden. And a lot of things are often hidden in the 8th house. We don't see what's going on over there. It's hard to see. Now, in your case, watch out for somebody you know being in a hospital, and you may indeed be hearing of an inheritance. There's Mars in the house of hospitals, and this isn't an inheritance story. This is a grandparent. So you may be inheriting money from a grandparent, maybe a grandma, or an elder female as a result of what we're seeing here in the sky. Not on the day of the eclipse, so maybe something like that happens close to the eclipse day, but over the course of the 3 to 6 months that follows the eclipse, chunky money from a family of origin, legacy wealth, female, elder may come through your sky. And we mean elder, like Saturn, the crone, the old lady, okay? The old woman. If you don't have that kind of money coming your way, then not to worry. I gave you other delineations, so, factor them all in. Virgo sun, moon, and rising sign. We have this story going on here where your kite is being held by you. When you want to pick a kite up and you want to lift it off the ground, well, this eclipse forms a kite on the 17th, 18th, and runs from 3 to 6 months of influence later, shows you're holding the bottom of the kite. That's powerful because you're the one in charge of lifting it up so that it goes to fly high in the sky. So for you, this is a very strong agency around where the success comes from in this particular kite, because the kite is pointed to the tip of the kite, Neptune moon, and the moon moved just because I can't hold it there, but know that the moon is here in the Pisces part of the sky. This is, to me, you want to see success in long-term committed love stories, business partnerships, and the way you reach out to your clients or audience. Now, some people have clients, some people have an audience, some people customers in the career path. You're lucky in your career. Jupiter says, yay, you, luck and expansion, growth, prosperity, bosses love you. You're high in the sky. You're doing well all the way till next June. Don't cry. Your career stuff can go well. Not employed, don't give up yet. Jupiter's there till next year. So you're doing well up there. But here we see success in the audience, client, marketplace / business partners / husband, wife part of your sky. So that's where you want to succeed. However, there is a whole energetic there because an eclipse in the 7th house can end a relationship. I want you to be aware of that because success may be because it has come to an end. Because of the Vestal flame in the house of your body, you might want to be alone, tending your sacred fire, being the nun, the monk, the priestess. And you may not really want to be engaged in that kind of story of love and sex because Pluto, the god of death, is backed into your house of sexual romantic love. And there's some surprises embedded here as well. So we'll get to the archetypes. So you have the energy here of a earth trine anchoring the houses 1 and 5 and 9, dharma, purpose of life, meaning of life. Are you on track? Are you in authentic joy? Are you having pleasures without the deeper joy of life? Are you enthusiastic about life? Do you actually feel filled with filled with spirit? These are 5th house stories. Pluto's trying to dredge to the bottom and dig up your true joy. And Uranus is in your 9th house trying to find your connection to God, the divine, and the deepest meaning of life. And then finally, you are looking inward, Mercury, the mind and the ideas, and you are inspecting yourself. You're thinking about you and what you need and what you want to devote yourself to spiritually and creatively and romantically and artistically and in a relationship to a long-term partner. Will this relationship last? If you're a Virgo rising sun or moon between 23 and 29 degrees of Virgo, you're highly engaged. The eclipse is on your descendant. Some of you may find that a full moon eclipse eclipses a relationship, meaning it ends it. But because it's a full moon, it's coming to a fulfillment. You've been suspecting it's going to end anyway. And because it's a full moon, it's also connected to the way you see the relationship, or the relationship is revealed to you as being worthy of ending or continuing. Now, it can continue, but under the light of the eclipses, North Node expands the pot of your long-term relationship. So those of you in long-term love stories will find you need to grow a bigger pot for the root-bound relationship, or it will end. And if you're single, there's a strong possibility, Virgos, of meeting a really karmic kismet relationship over the next couple of years. And this first eclipse could introduce that new relationship to you. Maybe someone from a foreign land, foreign shore, you meet them in an educational setting, etc. All right, or doing some fun activities. Fifth house matters. All right, let me know how that goes. I'm looking forward to hearing back from you guys. As the months go back, come back to this story and let me know how did it go, Virgo. I have a lot of Virgos in my life. I have a ton of them. So it's because my vertex, anti-vertex axis is in the Virgo Pisces axis. And so I meet a lot of Virgos in this life who have important meanings for me. I give birth to Virgos. My mother was a Virgo. They're everywhere. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Big kite flying high in the sky. Look at where it points and look at what it's doing. This is September 17th, 18th. Add 6 months. You're under the influence of a baked-in kite. The kite is stamping into the clay of this eclipse the narrative of the following themes. 12th house, resourcefulness and health. Libras are taking care of their body and their health, and you're going to end any addictions and self-undoing bad habits. You're going to research and study things that help you with your health, and you're going to write or make ideas or do projects quietly at home, alone, like especially writing and communicating projects that you're devoted to. You also see that you will anchor this trine for this story in the 8th house. The 8th house is your chunky money, money you make that's not connected to your daily earnings and directly connected to your job. It may be inheritances and royalty incomes and passive income and resale, book publishing, all kinds of stuff. You're lucky in publications, publish a book now and win the day, or you're lucky in foreign land travel or visas or working from foreign places to foreign places and all that. That's true till next year, right? Lots of work. Can be successful if it's academic work or visas or foreign companies to work for or book publishing. And in the context of that, that could indicate royalty income here. If you're publishing a book that does really, really well. Or sign-on bonuses or severance packages connected to jobs connected to far foreign shores and lands. And finally, you also can see that your 4th house is wide awake with this trine of earth energy that anchors the kite. And that means that you are also looking at matters to do with home. Now, Pluto here can be really good for you guys to invest in things that are in the earth, precious metals, rare minerals, stuff like that. If you're a stock investor type Libra, this is not a bad move for you. Pluto's backing up into your 4th house. Family secrets from the past can be revealed, especially with the connection to the 8th house. So look for this eclipse to maybe reveal family secrets from the past, but also for you to wealth up through legacy wealth and surprising legacy wealth. And you may not expect it, but with a stellium in the house of hospitals, a father figure or a male elder may be passing on money to you in the 6 months after this eclipse. Also, the focal point planet is Neptune with the moon, and the moon is actually here. Sorry, the moon has just moved. And the moon and Neptune are in your 6th house. And so you're looking at the idea of increasing your success over the next 6 months after this eclipse in connection to work stuff, the work you do, the job you do. Increase. Also an increase of success and goodness around things to do with rental properties, whether you're the landlord or the tenant. Also good news around pets. That's an area where you could have your dream soulmate pet show up in the 6 months that follows this. And I bet you a lot of Libras will get back to me and say, yeah, we were thinking getting a pet. And I'm saying, well, this eclipse will bring that perfect pet to you. It's a revelation in the 6th house of health matters. And if you're dealing with an undiagnosed health challenge, and a lot of you have been struggling to pin the tail on the donkey for diagnoses of health matters since Neptune got into this part of your health sky in 2011. This allows you to see more clearly what's really wrong. Saturn brings a realistic, clear-eyed, grounded, like backbone of what's wrong with you. And the sort of an eerie red glow of the eclipse, you can have new information come to you from Mercury that sheds light on what's wrong with you. And finally, do you have any addictions or self-undoing, substance abuse, bad habits like that? This is an eclipse that can help you kick the habit forever. Goodbye, kick it to the curb. You are done. It's really great for that because the 12th house of self-undoing, the 6th house of health can indicate a dramatic shift of an eclipse being of a health challenge, but also substance abuse addictions as well. All right, I'm going to move this back a day so that I can keep the moon in the right house. All right, give me a minute. There we go. And now back to ours. In the live premiere, hit that like button and subscribe. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. It's amazing. It's a kite that bakes itself into the clay of this eclipse and therefore influences the energies of the eclipse over the course of the next 3 to 6 months. On September 17th, 18th or so, we see that you're anchoring your story here in houses 11, 7, And 3, that is the grand trine that is resourceful, and it's good for body health and everyday needs, food, shelter, water, survival, and resourcefulness. In your sky, these houses are comma or relationship houses, and a lot of the resource comes through your spouse, your significant others, your sibling, older and younger, aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, neighborhood, childhood friends, larger groups of friends. Other people support your financial wellness in this eclipse cycle that runs for the 6 months after this particular eclipse. And you might notice that you have the energy here of the focal planet, Moon Neptune, at the tip of the kite, where things take off. Now, this is the house of good fortune, the 5th house. So we don't mind a kite lifting off in the house of good fortune. And indeed, Scorpio, you flow to the tip of this eclipse, and it's an increase. It's good for fertility, pregnancy, baby making. It's good for creative projects, art projects taking off. In fact, sudden viral projects taking off with the audience and marketplace can happen in the 6 months that follow. If you're an artist, don't give up your music, your painting, your art, your story writing yet. Neptune in this story can bring realistic, long-lasting results in success that brings sudden fortune and fame through most likely the internet. But that's a possibility. And if you're an entrepreneur, your entrepreneurial 5th house business is going to glow up over the next 6 months. But remember that a lunar eclipse is flowing. A lunar eclipse is a glowing into it. Like, it's like, here's this kind of creepy light that's kind of a red moon-ish partial eclipse that shines into a beacon of light, a new light, a different light into the 5th house. So what brings you joy? What brings you authentic pleasure? What inspires you? What makes you feel like your soul's alive? Where does that follow your bliss? These are good memes for the 5th house. And you might be really thinking about how you want to move into alignment with some of those themes that I've just mentioned, that pleasure alone is not enough. And because you have Pluto, the god of riches, backtracking into your 5th house for the last time, 3rd house, for the last time in your life, things to do with your relationship to writing, communicating, online social media, neighbors and neighborhood, and younger sibling, as well as up here, Mercury, elder sibling in the 11th house, groups of belonging, and career gains. And over here, Uranus, your significant marriage type partner, business partner, and audience and clients and marketplace are all connected to the 5th house. I'll say this. Some of you may be looking at a pregnancy story that surprises you. You or your partner didn't expect to get pregnant, but here you are. But you're going to be okay with it. You're going to be happy about it. Some of you may be able to see some really strong gains in your creative projects, especially if you're going to place them in the online milieu. And finally, the bottom of the kite is held by the sun and the Mercury energy down here. And a lot of favors from friends in high places, a lot of support from your allies and benefactors is a part of this narrative. You succeed by virtue of the support of other people. And it is the house of good fortune. I don't see the downside. Some of you may educate yourself as well, because houses 3 and 5 can both involve educational opportunities or teaching opportunities. And you may go into either of those environments over the course of the 6 months that follows this eclipse in order to find more authentic self-expression, joy, fun, play, and pleasure, and good fortune. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. Give me a minute. This is a sky with a kite that bakes in the 17th, 18th eclipse into a longer archetypal story. One, we have the anchoring of the resourceful earth trine in your career house, your 6th house of work and business and health routines and work routines, and 2nd house of earning, savings, and financial money resources. Now, this is an Artha combination. Artha houses about your material success in the world. And so your material success is guaranteed. A lot of Sagittarius are moving into a time of prosperity, greater prosperity through the work, career, and earnings structures of your life, especially baking in Venus, by the way, in the house of great gains from the career itself. And a lot of the gains come through women or friends and favors, and people in high places. But that is the anchor for the kite. The fundamental piece that I want to address is the eclipse is happening with a moon Neptune conjunction, and of course Circe the witch in the fourth house. Now, a kite pointing to the midnight hour, to the bottom of the sky when it usually flies high, may indicate that a lot of your prosperity increase comes through inner work, because the fourth house is one of the spiritual liberation moksha houses, but it also has to do with your family of origin and your ancestral line. And it's quite possible you'll be digging up some secrets or things you didn't know about your ancestral line. Mars in the eighth trines to the bottom of the top of the kite, and by exploring, maybe doing shamanic work, regression work, healing work around the family of origin, family constellation work, or just working on stuff to do with your childhood wounds or your childhood stories, you're really breaking out of some kind of thing that could have held you back. But you can be prosperous and successful because of things you're doing in and from the home as well. And Neptune here could be intuiting from the home, visualizing from the home, manifesting from the home, vision boarding from the home. But he also can be, are you doing storytelling from the home, photography, filmography, video, music from the home? Saturn gives structure and form to your imagination so that you can be successful. So imaginative endeavors in and from your home can bring you real life success financially in work and career matters. With the South Node pulling away energy from your 10th house over the next couple of years, starting in January, you're letting go of one old identification with career and reputation to form something new. You're making some brew of something new in and from your home because you want to be reinventing career and letting go of an old kind of career purpose path so that you can push yourself into the new. And a lot of this new is developed in and from your home in the next 6 months, 3 to 6 months after the eclipse, because Saturn can make you melancholic, lone, and lonely in the home. Right? Keep that in mind. And North Node is going through the home. Some of you may change your home and move to a new home next year or the year after, move to a foreign country. North Node Rahu is foreigners. You may be expanding your home, but you're certainly changing your home. And some of you may move as a result of home changes that give you greater prosperity and satisfaction in your resourceful work and career matters. And if you're a single Sag looking for love, don't forget, Jupiter's going to give it to you best he can as he travels through this part of your sky through till next year. And if you're in a gnarly relationship till next June, it's no good for you. He can also bring blessed endings to those difficult relationships that are no longer sustainable in long-term love. And we're kind of plowing along. I hope this is not going to take me 1,000 years. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign that Kite is forming here a grand trine. And I say it for every sign. I'm like a broken record, but it's about resourcefulness and material success and health and well-being. And you're anchoring it in the 9th house and the 5th house and the 1st house. So these are houses of Dharma. What's your purpose? What are you doing on the planet? Who are you to be here at all? Why did you incarnate? Time to get down with it. Deeper purpose in life that brings you joy, fun, play, and pleasure. That brings spiritual satisfaction. That gets you in touch with the divine, with God, and the nature of reality. And it also helps you transform your identity so that you can be somebody new. Pluto's been transforming you like a butterfly, caterpillar, or whatever metaphor you want. And your identity is under a lot of renovation since 2008. This is Pluto's last, let's do another reno. Reno is a kind word for Pluto. Let's demolish the thing, burn it down, ashes, and have the phoenix of your new identity rise up from the ashes. So this is the last salvo around sun, moon, and sun, your career, ascendant, everything about your life, moon, maybe body, home, to change that forever and ever and ever towards something true, authentic, and intrinsically powerful. And so this is where Pluto sits in your 1st house, anchoring the 3 to 6 months after this eclipse, more personal transformation as you want to Zeus up. The Mount Olympian god is sitting with Pluto and be the total king and power source of your reality. And if it's your sun, it's about career and it's about rising from ashes and all of that. And, ascendant or whole identity can be changing. Moon, home, and body matters. Now, honestly, I think with the unexpected, shocking, your algal story over here and Uranus over here, and you know, and if you're like of childbearing age, or you and your partner are, there can be unexpected pregnancy or unexpected grandchildren arising off of this 3 to 6 months as well. Just keep that in mind. Oh my God, I'm going to be a grandma, granddad, or I'm going to have a baby. Oh, or my partner's pregnant. Uh-oh, or oh yay. Because I think you're going to actually not mind it, because you flow to the tip of this storyline. This kite points here at the moon and Neptune, making a crossbar of the kite. Well, that's a terrible kite, Lori, but you get the idea. And in essence, you are going to be finding yourself having a nice experience with these eclipses over the next couple of years, right? Is expanding your third house. You may change your neighborhood, expand your neighborhood associations, go to a new neighborhood in a foreign place. You may have a lot more contact with aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, nieces, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, neighbors, and a sibling younger than you. Expansion of those storylines. If you have one younger than you, then specifically. But the third house is writing, and the third house is social media and online world, and the third house is short distance travel. And because we have 9 and 3, travel and educational narratives are big for you. All right, career can be formed in a foreign land, foreign shore, or from a foreign place with this sky. You may have some career blessings connected to foreigners, foreign places, and foreign shores in the 3 to 6 months that follows this eclipse. And if you need a visa, passport, or anything to do with visas and passports working out for you, especially when it comes to moving your house or neighborhood to another country, those things can really go well as well. The lunar eclipse shines a light that's a red, glowy, eerie light into the third house, and it reveals things to you about the extended family, about your neighbors, about your relationship to a younger sibling, or about writing projects, creative projects, and online work and businesses that you're involved in, as you see a new way of doing things and a new way of operating here. Because ultimately, you know, Jupiter does rule that third house, and he's in the work house over here. So a lot of what we see is work opportunity, especially with this trine ongoing. So work opportunities blowing up, glowing up, and showing up, but maybe in surprising ways in the 3 to 6 months that follows the eclipse for you, Capricorns. And a dog barked just for you outside of my window. And so the dog says yes. Maybe some of you will get a dog, because Jupiter in your 6th house indicates expansion of family members called pets. And so you might get more animals in your home. And by next June, you might be the proud owner of a new animal. Okay, let's keep going. And let's talk about us. I'm an Aquarius rising like you guys, and Sun and Moon, you can listen as well. Well, the kite is definitely happening, and we can see it pointing here. So let's go through the machinations. September 17th, 18th, 3 to 6 months later, up to that long. We have the Earth trine anchored in houses 8, 4, and 12, spiritual liberation houses, right? But also practically home, land, property, real estate, sudden changes or wealth connected to them, and maybe healing of issues to do with homeland property and all the erratic changes you've been having in your home ever since 2018. And that's Uranus. Thank you, Uranus. And also your 8th house of chunky money. Now, I started my YouTube channel in 2018, believe it or not, or something way back there, or 19 for astrology. And that was when Uranus was coming into the 4th house. And now I suddenly blew up in 2018 with stuff connected to ascension and spirituality. And it was just because Uranus rules the internet, and I was doing internet from home, right? So internet from home, sudden changes of home, property, land, and real estate, healing of some wounds around property, home, land, and real estate, and nest. Asclepia, resurrection, rising from the dead of some of the challenges. But also, what about this? 8th house. This is chunky money. This is really good for sudden changes of home, connecting to buying and selling a home, and also connected to ad revenue, inheritance money, a sudden unexpected bit of inheritance money from a father figure or a spousal figure, or even an ex-spousal figure may come your way 3 to 6 months, X because of retrogradation. And the other house that we're opening up to is the 12th. And that's deep spiritual awakening, nirvana, samadhi, the full Buddhahood, and Pluto, the rising of the phoenix from the ashes here. If you're somebody who makes money internationally through digital income, foreign revenue, riches, Pluto just says riches. I'm going to give you some riches, but you've earned them. He's retrograde. It's coming from the past. So your hard work is paying off, and you may be getting some financial salvation or riches going on as a result of that energy here as well. Now the kite, oh, my annotation stopped. The kite is pointing The kite is pointing to the second house of money. Ah, the annotations just stopped. Well, just trust me. It's right here. That's weird. Annotations. Oh, did it change color on my annotations? Huh. Let's see. Maybe it went white on me. That would be weird. Huh. I can't doodle all over you guys. I can't see what happened. Yeah. Let's try one more thing. Did it change to the wrong color? I don't know. Now it wants to make a square. So you have this energy in the second house of the kite pointing to money, resources, and earnings. It's also equally good for you quitting an addiction or self-undoing or eating foods that are not good for you, because the house of the things that go in your mouth is the second house or in your nose. And Pluto is flowing to that part of the sky. And Neptune is the god of addictions, and there's a change, right? An eerie red glow, the light of something. I'm on the AIP protocol autoimmune diet right now. It's just a diet for a temporary time. And that's exactly this kind of thing. By having Saturn be realistic and Neptune clear the fog, food styles that exacerbate autoimmune problems for my body will be revealed to me. The lunar eclipse can reveal things to do with food and substances to connect to your mouth and nose that can allow you to make profound changes to your health in and from the home. But it is the money house. It's where you save your money. It's where you can bring earnings in from the 10th house energies as well as from the 11th. I mean, both of them can be money from career. And so you're going to find that your career money, your earnings money, your financial wellness is changing. The North Node for 2 years will increase your money. You're going to have more financial wellness than you've had for 18 years. It goes back to a cycle that's 2006 to 2008 and 1987 to 89, right? You had more money coming your way. I did. I got really rich for selling a property just before the subprime loan scandal, and I lived off it for years. So now I had to go back to work. So you can see this energy means a kind of a financial bonanza for you. Yeah. Coming up when? Coming up in the next 3 to 6 months from this eclipse. And, your kite is lifting off from the 8th house. So it's, again, money that's not just your own earnings. It can also be like ad revenue from YouTube. It's not like I shared the money with YouTube. It's shared earnings, shared resources, not just my money, right? So there's this kind of way money is coming also out of that 8th house and activating the 2nd house as well. And you may have massive revelations or insights around things to do with what you consider to be your values, right? What do you care about? What do you really value? The I possess, I have house is the 2nd house, and it connects to Venus, traditionally in Taurus, Venus, and it connects to the question of what you value in life. Because what do you value? Because when you know what you value, then you operate from the values system approach to life. And so there's maybe a reflection in the 6 months that follow about what your real values are, especially around work, money, prosperity, home, and spirituality, and these sorts of stories already. I hope that's useful. I am waiting to see what happens myself. We'll see. And we're going to go on to the never least and always the most amazing mystic poets of the Zodiac, the Pisces folk. Pisces sun and moon and rising sign. The sky has a kite for you. And let's see if my annotation is still broken. Oh, now it wants to make boxes. Let's just play with boxes. These are the boxes of your sky. And the kite is pointing up here. All right. So basically, I love this. You are going to go through a time in which this eclipse of the 17th, 18th is opening up a door of change, and the change is in your identity. You're not going to be the same person. Sun, it's your career that's changing. Moon, it's your home and body matters, and the way you think and feel about life. And the ascendant, anything can change: career, relationship, home. But you have the change on you. You are expanding. North Node energies will eventually go here for 2 years, starting in January, 18 months, starting in January 25, expand, grow, and become something new, especially when it comes to self-esteem, self-worth, self-value, and monetary value. That's another story, but it's in my other video. Please check it out in my description box. And because of this kite anchored in Artha, resourceful, material success, and wellness, physical wellness houses, you can see that 3, 7, and 11 are activated, and these are the relational karma houses, and therefore 3rd house, younger sibling, one younger, aunts, uncles, cousins, and neighbors and nieces and nephews, extended family, right? or your spouse, 7th house, or your sibling, one older than you, or large social groups of friendship circles, 11th house. These kinds of people support the growth of your character and your identity. They are a team around you that support this. But because the South Node is moving through the 7th house, there's a possibility with Venus baked into the 8th house that you may see some money coming from shared resources with spouse through divorce or death. I'm sorry. No, not when you're 20 or 20s. Let's not get all paranoid. All right. But there's a movement towards shifts in marriage, either to become more celibate ultimately over the next 3 to 6 months, or if you're in a marriage, maybe, especially as you move into next year, a need to make changes in the relationship. If you're single, you can meet a new person. This is a soulmate. But for the ones already married, you're going to go through some hard times in 25, 26 with that relationship, that long-term marriage, right? You're focused on you and you're taking your attention away from the needs or neediness of your significant other, who may be declaring in this eclipse anyway, I just want to be alone right now. I'm going to go to a hermit cave by myself. And you may not have a choice about it. Maybe they're going to go off and do their own thing, Pisces. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, with the sun in the setting place, it's possible inheritances from father figures or spousal money may be coming your way as a result of the next 3 to 6 months. Jupiter in the 4th house brings legacy wealth. And again, inheritance money may come your way in the next 3 to 6 months. You can see that sudden travel opportunities may emerge here connected to extended family in the next 3 to 6 months. And if you have an IC in the 3rd house, sudden surprising changes of home and relocation of home. If you're floating IC in whole sign houses is in the 3rd house, but you feel good about it because you're flowing to the Taurus Uranus, and you're flowing to the Pluto Capricorn, and you're down with these transpersonal forces moving you around on the game board here. And again, for some of you, 3rd house can indicate unexpected travel connected to extended family or spouse, but also the possibility of a home change. Any home changes are blessed by Jupiter in the 4th house, and they will always be positive. And finally, this is an eclipse cycle that will kind of, in hindsight, when you get out of this whole thing by 2026 summer and you look over your shoulder, you're going to transform who you are. You're not going to be the same person, but you're also here to bring a backbone of solidity and structure to some of the dreams and hopes you've had for your life since 2011, as Neptune began transforming the Pisces part of the sky, confusing you, deluding you, rose-colored glasses, but Neptune, imagination, visions, and deepest spiritual parts of your being have been developed since 2011. And Saturn's bringing those into form now, into reality. And people are your ally. Lean on them, especially lean on elder sibling and younger sibling, cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, or friends, besties from childhood, or new friendships in the groups. They are going to support you. The conflict and tension is with the spousal part of the story, right? If you're single looking for love, though, and you've been looking for a long time, that South Node transit starting in January of 2025 at 18 months can bring you your soulmate love story or karmic love story. So hang in for that as well. Thanks for listening, everybody. Don't forget, if you've been in the premiere for this whole thing and watching with me and you haven't yet hit the like button, why not? It helps the channel grow. I really, really appreciate it. I'm in my sort of, I look like an Egyptian, earrings, and having fun with the idea of this video. I hope this is something enjoyable can happen for you today in listening, and hopefully it wasn't god awfully long. See you in Sky Reader. Don't forget the description box below. Early bird access is still available until about the 22nd or 3rd of September, and then it's full price again. All right. Ciao, ciao.